Okay, so with the topic, how does she do it all? I have like a 2-minute video. It's a trailer of a movie that I love, but it kind of sets us up. So let's see if my remote will
A recent study showed that women with young children don't sleep through the night. Researchers were at a loss to explain why. They could have asked me. Taxi! Instead of sleeping, I do the list. Number 1.
Take Emily to school. I am just so jealous. You get to look nice all day. We just frump around at the park.
Number 2. Keep my head above water at work.
Sarah, you're running a little late this morning.
I have 2 choices here. The man's excuse, bad traffic, down power lines, faulty carburetor, or mammogram.
Oh.
Number 3, spend more time with Richard.
He must be completely exhausted.
Not completely. Number 4, the kids, kindergarten bake sale, Christmas lights, birthday party.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how she does it. All those children.
I have 2.
So impressive.
You have 4.
Yeah, but 2 of mine are twins.
I love my work, although sometimes I wish I didn't love it so much.
You're allowed to miss your children. I need somebody down there tonight.
We can't go on like this.
Can't quit, Kate. Don't you think about not having to worry about priorities all the time?
Don't know what we're capable of.
Me without that job isn't me, but also me without you and Ben and Emily is nothing.
Okay, so has anybody felt that? Like, I want to do all the things, and I'm not me without my career, but I'm also not me without my family, and so how do we do that? How do we do it all? Well, so does balance mean equal? So when you picture a balanced life, do you imagine everything equally getting 15 or 20% divided across all the areas of life? True balance isn't about equality, it's about intentionality. So some areas need more of you in certain seasons, and we're gonna use this analogy of a garden throughout the time. So you think about a flower. Some flowers are super drama queens, like hydrangeas, where you look at them wrong and they start wilting, and you have to give them upside down in the water and all the different things to make them bloom. And then some things are like sunflowers. If just put them in the sun and they're gonna go. So different areas of your life will need different attention based on the season you're in, based on just the needs of that. So balance is less like a pie chart and more like a garden. Each plant in your garden requires different care and attention. What matters is that you're tending them on purpose, not counting the minutes to each one. So we're gonna talk about how does she do it all? We're gonna define what is the all that is there, because culture will tell us the all is family and job and money and looking beautiful and having a spotless house and cooking perfect dinners. You have to do that all to be a Proverbs 31 woman, right? Have you ever had like Proverbs 31 attack to get like feel attacked when you read that woman? Like, how does she sleep? What does she do? So we're gonna take care of that, and we're gonna define all as whatever God has asked you to carry, not what culture demands or expects from you. So you can have it all if you define the all as what God is saying, this is where I'm placing you. So we're going to talk about 3 ways to walk in God's definition of balance, but first we're going to talk about 7 areas of life. Hold on, let me get there. I got to do my little remote. So the first one is faith. And so obviously you can define life however you want. Victoria Beccarelli did it this way in ARCO in 2022, and it really stuck with me. So faith is the first one, and this is quiet time with Jesus, Bible study, prayer life, giving to church, small group, regularly attending a gathering of your church. Faith is the soil. Everything is rooted in your faith. So if your soil is dry, nothing else is going to thrive. So when we look at your areas of your life, that one doesn't really need to fluctuate too little or too much. It needs to be the soil that's being hydrated in there. So I will notice like, oh, I'm feeling a little dehydrated. Well, my quiet times probably started slipping, or I kind of stopped doing the prayer life at home because other things are getting in the way. But that one thing will affect everything else. So your faith is the first one. Come on, there we go. Did it work? No, it didn't work. It's okay. I'm trying, guys. There it is. There it is. Your faith is your soil. Okay. Number 2, the second area, we're going to just go back to this slide. The second area is your family, whether that's your spouse, your children, your extended family, your parents, different seasons. My mom was her primary caregiver for her mom for like 8 years. That adjusted how much she could give to other areas because she needed to honor her mom in that season of life. So that is one of your areas. Number 3 is your health, and this includes your mental health, your physical health, and your personal development. So if you're working out all the time, but you're not paying attention to your mental health, you're still ignoring a part of your body. This is things like balanced diet, exercise, water, sleep, growing your mind, your skills, your character. A stronger you can manage more as you mature. That's your muscle strong, your mental strong, your maturity level. All of those things are part of your health, and they need attention. Number 4 is your work. Does your work provide enough money for your family that you need? Is your work aligned with your core values? Do you love your work? Do you love the people you're with? Do you feel like God has put you in that job? Your job funds the mission, and it can be a part of your calling, but you have to keep it in its lane. You can't let it hijack your identity or consume your energy. And this is for my friends who serve or lead at TRP or Kala or any other ministry. Ministry should overflow from your intimacy with Jesus, not replace it. And that is why I put ministry in number 4, work, not number 1, faith, because ministry is not faith. Those are 2 different things. Ministry is not your relationship with God. It's the fruit, not the root. That's why it's not in the faith section. Number 5 is finances. This one's been a struggle for me this year, I will be honest with you. Decreasing your debt, going towards debt-free, funding your retirement, saving for fun and bucket list stuff, using a spending plan. Dave Ramsey says in Financial Peace, Dave Ramsey says, tell your money where to go or you'll wonder where it went. That's part of managing your money. I'm going to say it again because I like it. Dave Ramsey says, tell your money where to go or you'll wonder where it went. And Jim Baker, not the Tammy Faye Jim Baker, our friend Jim Baker, who has Wealth with God. It's a wonderful course. Jim Baker says money is kindergarten discipleship. And I was like, oof. Like money is the entry level to learning how to be discipled and listen to God and trust God. And sometimes we think that's like top level stuff, but that's like basic stuff. Because from those lessons, then we can learn with bigger, those who are faithful with little, be faithful with much. Money is the little to get us mature to do the much. And that one was like, I'm going to have to sit with that one a minute. That one unlocked some things in me that I didn't realize were there that I needed to deal with about belief in money, which ironically, like being the finance director now, God's pulling out all these financial things inside of me, which I know are a matter to TRP too, right? And so like Scott Smiley will say, like, when you come up against a statement that's like, that's just the way it is, that's a red flag that there's some kind of limiting belief or agreement that you've made somewhere in the past. So when I come up with like, that's just the way it is, I'm like, hold up. Let's sit on that one for a minute. And number 6 is rest and relationships. This includes a Sabbath, your getaway with your spouse, your getaway with God, our wonderful silent retreats, time for fun and hobbies, and time for friends. At our leadership dinner last month, 2 months ago, we pointed out if you're an introvert, you have to intentionally plan time alone. That's how you recharge your battery. If you're an extrovert, you have to intentionally plan time with your friends, with relationships, because your battery will actually feel depleted if you're an extrovert and you're not having fun with your friends. If you're an introvert, all that time with people is going to deplete your battery and you need to recharge alone. But you have to make sure that you're paying attention to that. And again, in different seasons. I have little kids. I don't get to go out as much as I want to. It's like a treat to go out with friends, so you have to look for other ways. And number 7 is community. Balance doesn't mean isolation, it means impact. So how are we impacting our community, whether it be the people around you at work or the people at church or your neighbors, anyone that God's put around you in the season you're in, how are you impacting them with influence? So in our 7 areas, we're going to talk about how we intentionally balance between them. So it's not 15% in each one of those. So what we're going to look at first, there are 3 things. We're going to look at heavenly wisdom for prioritization. See if I can get to my list. Did it work? Come on. Wait, where'd it go? I think it just takes a minute. There it is. Okay. Caleb makes it look so easy when he does the remote. It's not easy. All right. Heavenly wisdom for prioritization, seasonal awareness, and spirit-led stewardship. So we're going to go into number 1, heavenly wisdom for prioritization. When we look to God for the priorities, what stays and what goes, he will direct us. And I'm going to read a long passage from Proverbs 8 because I couldn't figure out what parts to cut because I love the whole thing. And it's not up there. Okay. So Proverbs 8 is talking about wisdom, Lady Wisdom. Proverbs 7 is Madam Folly. Proverbs 8 is Lady Wisdom. And they're both shrewd and they're both smart. But one, Madam Folly, leads to destruction, and Lady Wisdom leads to life. So, let me see. I'm not quite like this yet. All right. Can't you hear the voice of wisdom? From the top of the mountains of influence, she speaks into the gateways of the glorious city. At the place where pathways merge, at the entrance of every portal, there she stands, ready to impart understanding, shouting aloud to all who enter, preaching her sermon to those who will listen. This is wisdom talking. I'm calling to you, sons of Adam, yes, and to you, daughters as well. Listen to me, and you will be prudent and wise, for even the foolish and feeble can receive an understanding heart that will change their inner being. The meanings of my words will release within you revelation for you to reign in life. My lyrics will empower you to live by what is right. For everything I say, again, this is wisdom, everything I say is unquestionably true, and I refuse to endure the lies of lawlessness. My words will never lead you astray. All the declarations of my mouth can be trusted. They contain no twisted logic or perversion of the truth. All my words are clear and straightforward to everyone who possesses spiritual understanding. If you have an open mind, you will receive revelation knowledge. For I am wisdom, and I am shrewd and intelligent. I have at my disposal living understanding to devise a plan for your life. Wisdom pours into you when you begin to hate every form of evil in your life, for that's what worship and fearing God is all about. Then you will discover that your pompous pride and perverse speech are the very ways of wickedness that I hate. You will find true success when you find me, for I have insight into wise plans that are designed just for you. I hold in my hands living understanding, courage, and strength. I empower kings to reign and rulers to make laws that are just. I empower princes to rise and take dominion, and generous ones to govern the earth. I will show my love to those who passionately love me, wisdom, for they will search and search continually until they find me. Unending wealth and glory come to those who discover where I dwell. The riches of righteousness and a long, satisfying life will be given to them. Those who love me gain great wealth and a glorious inheritance, and I will fill their lives with treasure. So wisdom doesn't come when we go to college or we read books, can be tools. Wisdom comes when we worship and fear God. Wisdom comes when we hate every form of evil in our life. This is why number 1 on the list is faith. If the soil, it's the soil where everything else is rooted. If it's dry, if it's dehydrated, if it's stripped of nutrients, the others can't flourish, because the worship of God and the fear of God is what brings the wisdom that then directs us in all the other areas of our life. So once you've laid the soil with faith, quiet time, prayer, worship, we can then see what God wants to do with the rest of our priorities. And this is where Victoria, again, taught us. I love it. I've learned most of this from Victoria Picarelli, with my own little spin. She says, Psalms 5:3, she said, every morning I lay out the pieces of my life on the altar, and I wait for your fire to fall upon my heart. And she literally told us that every quarter she puts everything that she said yes to on the altar, and she says, God, what are you still breathing on? What are you still putting fire on? What is still a part of my life? Where are my priorities? And what God speaks on is what she says yes to, because her soil is dense and full of nutrients, and she spent that time at silent retreat. She spent that time with the Lord so she can hear his voice and she knows what he's saying and where to go. Everything on the altar, just because there was a yes in the past season doesn't mean it's still yes for this season. And the two little like quotes. Every good opportunity is not always a God opportunity. There are lots of things that sound really great, Every serve team in this building sounds really great. I would love to serve in every single one of them, but they're not all God opportunities for you, for what God wants to do for you. And then the thing that has always impacted me is everything you say yes to is a no to something else, because you only have 24 hours in 7 days in 12 months in whatever life God blesses you with, and you can't do it all. So when you say yes to going back to school, you're saying no to whatever else you would have done in that time. So we look for wisdom from heaven to tell us where to go, what to do, what to say yes to, what to say no thank you to. And in this wisdom are boundaries. Maturity helps us to know how to say no. Let me help you. No is a complete sentence. I feel like women are really good at saying, no, I would love to, but my kids are so small, and we're really struggling with finances, so no, thank you. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for thinking of me. No, thank you. And you don't have to share more than that. I give you permission. If you want to, you totally can, but you don't have to. And I tell women here at TRP, if I'm going to ask a woman about an opportunity that I feel like God's telling me to tell her, I will always start with, I expect you to hold your boundaries of what you can and can't do, and I will be very hurt if I find out that you're saying yes and building resentment because you feel like you can't say no. I want you to be honest with me. And it's weird how that gives permission to do what you should just be doing, right? So no is a complete sentence. If God has told you to say no. Now, no when God told you to say yes is a whole different thing. Okay. We should never be more beholden to another human and what they think of us than we are to the will of God and what God's directing us to. That fear of God, that should always trump the person that you're really scared of hurting their feelings or backing out of what you said or whatever. Okay, so then I want to read Proverbs 3, 5-6. We hear it a lot. We can all recite it. But I like to read it in the Passion because I like to hear it in a fresh perspective. So Proverbs 3, 5-6 says, trust in the Lord completely and do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on him to guide you, and he will lead you in every decision you make. Become intimate with him in whatever you do, and he will lead you wherever you go. Don't think for a moment that you know it all, for wisdom comes when you adore him with undivided devotion and avoid everything that's wrong. Then you will find the healing refreshment your body and your spirit long for. So if we compare the areas of life to flowers, not every plant needs the same care at the same time. Some need to be pruned. Others need to rest. Some need to just bloom. Hey, Paige, can you pass this out? And this is where we're going to talk about my favorite Victoria thing that she has ever taught me in all of the time I've been with her. It's called a weekly schedule. You all get to take one home, and then I'll email it. So a weekly schedule, it's just like the budget. You're telling your time where to go. Do you have one, Jamie? You have one, Violet? Yeah. I think my first mentoring session with Victoria, she asked me how much time I spent in all the different areas of my life, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Now I know. So what I do with mine, this is a black and white copy, but you'll see at the top, there's some different shadings there. I like to use my colored markers because I'm extra, and I like to categorize all my time based on the different commitments that I put on the altar, and God put fire on, and I know that there's still the commitments that I'm making in this season. And then we build out our ideal week. And it changes. I'm a photographer, and my season changes, so it changes based on that. But this helped me with two things. One, it helped me realize how to block. I'm never going to reach the end of the to-do list. I'm never going to be like, there's no more things to do. It's kind of not like that ever. So what this helped me with is, okay, 10 o'clock, that time block is done. I did the most urgent things that needed to be done on that time block, and now I'm moving into whatever's the next time block. So that part has helped me. The second thing it did is it helped my husband see how much time I spent on the different categories, because he's like, you're working all the time. And when he actually looked at the blocks, he realized that he was just seeing the certain time blocks for work. He wasn't understanding, hey, when I'm in car line for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night, that's family time, because I'm taking care of my family. When I, like today, had to spend 4 hours for 2 award ceremonies that were an hour and a half apart, so what am I going to do for an hour and a half in between the 2 grades? Those award ceremonies count as family time. So if I'm taking work time to go to a word times, I shifted in my schedule. And having this helps my kids and my husband understand that balance of all the areas. The other thing it helps me with is like, I can't get everything done that is necessary in the time blocks. So my schedule and priorities need to be revisited with God, because I think somewhere in here I heard a yes where I probably shouldn't have, because he gave all of us the same amount of time. So if I feel like I'm drowning, I probably didn't hear where he said to step off of something, or he said to give a no to something. He does not want you to feel like you're drowning. He does not want you to feel like there's a water fire hydrant busting in your face and you can't breathe every second of every day. That's a sign that something is on your calendar that probably doesn't need to be there. Or it's a sign that you need to learn how to delegate to people around you on your team, that maybe you are meant to be in that role, but you're not meant to be doing it alone. You're meant to be empowering people into roles that are waiting to be empowered. And that's where we pray and we listen to his voice, because we know his voice. So you make your ideal week with your sheet here. I'm talking quiet time, sleep, what time you go to bed, what time you are not with anybody else. If you're one of those introverts, you are scheduling your quiet time. If you're an extrovert, you're scheduling your time with people. On Monday night is my date night with friends. Every Monday night, I'm going out with friends. One day that will be true for me, but it might be true for you today. Jess Waldrop talks about scheduling a nap. She wants to schedule a nap in her schedule. It has not happened because she owns a business, but she talks about the day that she can schedule a nap. Schedule your naps. So you're going to take this home. I'm going to email you a copy. I can't wait to hear what you set with your ideal schedule, and then every week you can adjust it as you need to based on what's going on that week. Anybody got any questions? No? I'm excited for us to tell our time where to go. Okay, which leads to our second point. We did Proverbs. We did our weekly schedule. See, I even made a slide with it. It didn't go up there, though. There it is. There's your weekly schedule. Okay, so the next one is seasonal awareness. Balance shifts with the seasons. So, like I said, I have a photography business. I have 3 major events in September, November, and then another one in January. And those 4 are probably half of my salary for the year, but half of my work for the year is condensed into those months. So I know that my schedule on anything else is going to be severely affected by that, because I have to do that. So 1, I've delegated the parts of that job that I don't like. I hired a graphic designer, and she takes care of that for me. And then 2, I used to do those jobs and mini sessions at Christmas, because everyone wants Christmas cards, and I couldn't do it all. It was too much. So I went back to the Lord, and he said, stop doing mini sessions, focus on the projects, and that was so much better last year. But then the second part of it is I realize in that season, I'm shifting attention. My photography business has become a drama queen hydrangea in that season, and I've got to give it attention. I've got to baby the hydrangea and pay attention to it. And some other area is going to just be a sunflower that's getting sunshine and water, and that's all it's going to get right now. And that's going to be okay. For you have kids. You got little kids. They are your drama queen hydrangeas when they are little. Amy that left because she has a 4-year-old who is mama, 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 mama. So when you have little kids, you recognize it feels like it's never ending, but it is just a season, and you have to be aware of that season. If you have a job transition, if there's an illness in the family, these things are seasons that will affect how you get to schedule your time, and you have to be aware of what season you're in. Teenagers, Nicole, right? They take a whole different kind of level of attention. Nicole has 3 teenage boys who are in flag football and band and driving and archery and, yeah. See, I will tell you, I'm regretting a yes that I gave because my 10-year-old said, Mom, I want to play soccer, I want to play soccer. And I was like, all right, it's just 6 weeks. And then the 8-year-old goes, well, she's playing, I want to play. I don't want to just sit at her game. So we're like, okay, there's 2. Well, the 4-year-old's going to be with us, throw him in too, except 3 of them at a time doesn't mean they're all playing at the same time. It means one has practice Tuesday, one has practice Wednesday, one has practice Thursday. It means tomorrow my husband's taking them to a 9 o'clock, a 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock game, but last week I had 2 at 10 o'clock and 1 at 1 o'clock. I'm definitely regretting that, yes. Please remind me next year when she says she wants to play soccer that this was not a good idea for us, because I don't have anything else to say no to in this season. So what I said was, grandparents, can you help? And as much as they can, they are. Okay, so if you're building a business, that's another season. Jess, that is our connections department, owns a med spa called In Bloom. When she was building that spa, every day she's building the spa, she's finding people, she's messaging, she's creating the marketing, all that stuff. She is fully in that business, and that took her away from being connections department leader here, and that was okay, and we blessed her with that. And we said, okay, God is pausing all the building that she does here because she's building that. And that was a thing for her that she had to recognize. You can't build both at the same time because then your family's going to suffer. So she was able to recognize that. We were able to agree with her, and now her business is flourishing, and she's doing killer work. You should look her up on Instagram, In Bloom Med Spa. Okay, so don't be guilty for, don't feel, you are not guilty, don't feel guilty for redistributing your attention based on what God tells you. Be aware if a certain area of your life is drying up and needs help. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, hey there, it worked. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Life isn't static. It's about knowing what to give attention to in each season. And Galatians says, so let's not get tired of what's good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Keep tending each area with intention, even if you don't see that growth quickly, because weeds grow fast, not flowers. And stay flexible. Let God show you how to reposition your time and energy. So here's the two things you're going to ask. What does this season need from me? And what does it not need from me right now? And that's going to help you figure out what season you're in and where your balance is swinging in that season. And then you're going to print another weekly plan and update it to the season you're in. And number 3 is spirit-led stewardship. Let God lead your time, your energy, your choices. Some things might look really good and feel really urgent, but if he didn't ask you to carry it, it will exhaust you. 1 Corinthians 3:6 says, I planted the church, Apollos came and cared for it, but it was God who caused it to grow. This means the one who plants it is not anybody special, nor the one who waters, for God is the one who brings supernatural growth. And Romans 8:14 says, for those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. Being Spirit-led is the key to stewarding all the areas of your life. Once you say yes, because God said yes, you still have to steward. You plant the rose seeds, and then you don't do anything with it, you're not going to have big, beautiful roses. You have to grow them, you have to water them, you have to cut the thorns off of them, you have to shape them. This is the end of my analogy because I have a black thumb. But you have to steward and prune and grow so that it will blossom. Even if it's a yes from God and you're not stewarding it, it's still not going to be the fullest potential of what it could be. Being led by wisdom into maturity will help you navigate all things. Knowing what to say no to, what to release, and making sure that unimportant things aren't being magnified in your priorities. So here's the thing. My daughter who's in 3rd grade when she was in kindergarten is the only year that any of my children have had homework. And let me tell you, every single week, this kindergarten teacher thought it was really important to give homework to a kindergartner who couldn't read yet. And I had just had my 4th baby, so he was like 6 months old, and I just messaged her and I said, listen, my daughter is above reading level. I know you're sending work to help kids process, but the girl is like bored. She's waiting for gifted classes. I'm just letting you know I am not prioritizing homework until she can read for herself, because that requires me sitting beside her and reading every single thing to her for her to do her homework. I'm not. And I'm telling you this because I don't want you to think I'm slacking off or I don't care. I'm telling you in this season of life I can't do it and we're not going to. And they were like, oh, that's fine. She gets all this stuff anyway. It's fine. It's mostly for the other kids. But I had to get that off my plate because I was feeling like a really bad mom that I wasn't helping her with the only homework we got. The other thing is cooking. So I'm not a cook. I am never going to be the food chair. Jess asked me yesterday when the last time was that I've cooked anything, and I literally cannot tell you the last time I even turned my stove on. I am not exaggerating it anyway. My husband makes me eggs for breakfast. I usually eat leftovers for lunch, and he makes dinner. God blessed me with a husband who loves to cook. And on Monday nights when he's here for youth group, my kids know that it's fend for yourself night, and there are lots of things in the pantry. Go cook yourself something, and they'll microwave whatever. It is not a gifting God. My mom is the best cook ever. She's like, I don't know how it skipped a generation, but it most certainly did. So my point is I put pressure on myself. I have to learn how to cook. The one time I tried to do it, I used edamame instead of green beans in the casserole, and everyone was pulling strings out of their mouth. Like, it's just not my giftings. But I felt like a really crappy mom because I wasn't cooking for my kids. And then Victoria said, you know what? Ask them what you do that makes them feel loved, and find out if that's something that they feel loved when you do it. And they actually hated it because they would prefer to eat the simple, easy stuff than the stuff that I made. The things that made them feel loved was my 10-year-old says, when you lay on the bed with me and you close the door and you just let me talk to you for like 10 minutes of your attention. And the 8-year-old, when you go outside with me and you let me ride my bike and you watch me so I can go further down the street than I'm allowed to go when you're not. Those were the things that they said made them feel loved. And it fully released me that I'm not a crappy mom because I can't cook them food. Because that's not how they receive love. Now, maybe if I was a great cook like Dawn, they would receive love from that, but they were nurtured into food doesn't equal love from mom. So this is where making sure those unimportant things aren't being magnified and that you're putting this pressure on yourself that it really has to happen. Maybe something does need to happen, and that's where, again, we're listening to God. We're communing with him. We're listening to his voice for everything so that we know what is important and needs attention and what is not, and culture told us it is. And that's where you're going, okay? So are you carrying things God didn't ask you to? Because that will throw you off balance. Imagine what happens if you have your pretty garden and you plant a Brazilian pepper tree. Does anybody know what a Brazilian pepper tree is in Florida? It's really pretty. It kind of looks like hollyberry, maybe cranberries, but it's invasive, and it will suffocate everything that's around it. So it represents planting something that God didn't tell you in your garden. When you've got the beautiful flowers he told you to, but then you plant something that looks really pretty, but it's not what he told you to, it will choke out all the areas of your life that he did tell you to plant something. Good intentions can suffocate everything else. And then this one's for my ladies. Self-investment is not selfish. It is stewardship of your body. It is stewardship of the daughter of the king. Making time for your health, eating better, going to silent retreats. I keep repeating it because silent retreats are that important. These things will help you steward your body, your mind, your soul, and then you can show up as the mother that you were made to be, the wife that you yearn to be, the daughter of God that you want to be. You can show up to your best fullness of who you are because you've stewarded what God gave you within yourself. So on your schedule, it is not selfish to plan quiet time, exercise, eating right. You need to put those on there. It's not selfish. It's good stewardship. Your body was designed to operate at your max if you have regular rhythms of rest and a Sabbath. God created us with a Sabbath. Adam had a Sabbath. God worked 6 days and rested one. So if that is the schedule that worked for the holiest God there is, why do we think we can do more work than he can, that we can be more productive than he is? It has been very, very hard for me to put on a Sabbath. It has been part of our one-on-ones for a long time, and I kept going, I can't. And I finally was like, okay, I'm doing this. And sometimes photography business is hard, but at TRP, I'm fully allowed to just turn off. But it has been really challenging to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I have a setting now that my school, my kids, my husband, and their school can get through and no one else can. And I'm still struggling with turning that off and just checking, just making sure everything's okay. I'm getting better at it. The first time I did it, it was like every 20 minutes. I'm just gonna check. Okay, no emergency. Okay. I'm getting better at it, but that is helping me. Like, I can tell a difference in my productivity on the other 6 days when I have a rest day where I'm not tied to technology. I'm not tied to other people asking me things. I'm not tied to where is that form? What's in the building? What's happening at the church this week? I need to schedule an event. I need a social media post. Like, all of those things from TRP I love them and I love supporting them, but if it's 7 days a week, there's nothing else going on. So that Sabbath is the way that God created our bodies. To keep my garden analogy, farmers let land go fallow. So a farmer will plant his harvest, and then he'll let it lay fallow for a cycle to let the nutrients replenish, to let it fix its alkaline basic level. I'm from Plant City, but I don't know a whole lot about it. But the point is, like, just the way that the field needs its soil to replenish its nutrients, we need that time with Jesus and that Sabbath away from anyone else calling on us to replenish our soil, which is our faith, that all these things grow in. Okay. Let me check where I am. Okay, so I want to close with this. When we use the good soil, which is our faith-based foundations, and we allow wisdom to direct our priorities, and we recognize our seasons, and we steward what God has told us to say yes to, we can do it all, because the all is an outpouring of what he has directed us to do. The things he hasn't told us to do will fall to the side, and we will do what he says. We can do it all, because all is simply, what has God asked you to do? The weeds will be pulled, the rest will grow, and everything will flourish the way it's supposed to. So Matthew 6:33 says, above all, constantly seek God's kingdom and his righteousness, and then all these less important things will be given to you abundantly. This is a direct promise that if we prioritize his desires, he will take care of the rest. When we focus on him and he brings alignment to every area of our life. And so that is balance. Not the absence of chaos, but the presence of clarity.